It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
Believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
So on Monday's show, we heard from a woman named Alexis. Over the weekend, she saw a friend's brother smoking a cigarette outside a bar, right? Not the end of the world. But this kid, the 17-year-old, has had lung problems since he was a little kid. So she's wondering, do I tell mom and dad? Do I talk to the kid? Is it none of my business? Went through all of this with some OPP, and you should hear it coming up in the podcast in just a couple seconds. Here we go.
Bingo.
Bingo what bingo?
Bingo. Listener bingo is always my favorite part of our show because it's your story on the radio. Maybe you're somebody listening who
has had to obtain a lawyer, I'm going to say in the last year and a half. This guy in New York State, his name is Jerome. He decided to have an AI lawyer defend him, and this judge was not having it.
The appellant has submitted a video. We will hear that video now.
May it please the court. I come here today a humble pro se before a panel of 5 distinguished justices.
Is this, hold on, is that counsel for the case?
I generated that. That is not a real person.
You did not tell me that, sir, and you have appeared before this court and been able to testify verbally. You are not going to use this courtroom as a launch for your business. So if you are able to shut that off, you have 5 minutes.
Whoa.
It's the kind of judge I would be. Don't mess with me on a Saturday.
Now, let's just go back
I'm away
to
from
this.
my family.
I think this is a great idea, right? You take all of what you want to say, you plug it into AI, and it says it probably better than you. I mean, like,
yeah, but during a court case, it's a conversation. So if you have just one big spiel, how can he answer questions from the judge or anything? Then it just stops. Stupid.
I don't know if I'm really opposed to this. So you're looking for anyone listening who has recently had to lawyer up.
Right.
And I'm looking for anyone listening who has gotten a bogus ticket lately.
Okay.
This guy in Canada went to bed, parked his car on the street, and the government came in, or the city came in, and put a bus stop in front of his house and ticketed his car 10 minutes after they put a bus stop sign in front of it, even though his car had been there all night.
There was no sign the night before. Now I got to waste my time to go test the ticket. And if they refuse my contest, I actually got to go to court to actually fight a ticket, which is completely wrong. Well, now one bus has passed by, and I think they should notify it and put up a sign before the official sign saying there will be a new sign.
That makes a good amount of sense, right?
That's his side. I guarantee he got like 4 or 5 notices in the mail and just ripped them up thinking they were junk mail. So it's on him.
Lindsay, you're first through. Which one fits you?
I have the ticket one.
All right, let's go. Bogus ticket. What'd you get ticketed for?
So I had went to Herberger's and I had bought a bunch of displays because I had a clothing store. And so I had a truck full of displays and I loaded them all myself and I did all of the things. Well, then I was driving through a small little town and I had my seatbelt underneath my armpit. And so then a cop pulled me over, and I'm already trying to drive with all this crap in the car.
Yeah.
And so he pulled me over and gave me a ticket because I was wearing the seatbelt the wrong way.
Holy Hawkeyes. He could see that, like, from where he was sitting. You drive by.
Seriously? Yeah, it was terrible. So anyway, I went to court, and I fought it, and he didn't show up. So then I got away with it.
So, that is funky to me, that it wouldn't just be a conversation. And I think that that's where things go left with law enforcement. It's like that's where you get the bad taste in your mouth when he could have just pulled you over and said, ma'am, I want you to be as safe as possible. Can you please put this across your chest? And you hopefully would have said,
also,
sure.
Like, don't pull me over at all because I'm like hauling stuff. You know what I mean? It's like hauling a big old load of displays and stuff. It was already like tied down. I mean, it was kind of like already a stressful situation.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's the last thing you need to do is like pull me over to talk to me about my seatbelt. It wasn't like I didn't have it on.
Is that really a thing? You can have your seatbelt under your arm and that's ticketable?
I guess so.
Yeah.
You have to have it on properly.
Yeah, no, it is.
I would have never guessed. I would have never guessed that was a thing. Because, like, you ever been in a friend's car and it just was sitting wrong or whatever, and you put your arm over the top? Like, I get it's probably not the safest thing.
It sounds very uncomfortable.
But
it wouldn't be a natural move.
To me, sounds like you got your seatbelt on. So I'm guessing the law is written that it has to be over your shoulder.
I've been pulled over for my scented tree hanging off my mirror, but it was a simple conversation. Like I said, you pull me over and they say, can you take that down, put it somewhere else in your car? Absolutely. kind way of asking.
Well, so like
sure.
I'm like I'm a petite person, so like it just goes up really, really high, and so then I'm like, I just need it to be down farther. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so I just put it underneath my arm, but it was just not okay.
I also think, by the way, that if a cop doesn't show up to traffic court, they should reimburse you for your day's pay that you had to take that day off and go to court for. Because you got to be there, right? And if they don't, I get it gets thrown out and everything.
Does a cop get penalized for not showing up? Like, you don't, no call, no show at work, you get penalized.
Whatever they gave you, you win, basically.
You should get $500 if they don't show up. If you're going to contest it, you should get $500. The judge should give you $500 right there.
Yeah, I agree. It didn't happen. But
did you learn anything from this whole thing?
No, because I
Okay, all right.
That's what I love about our listeners. You guys are the best. I hope you have a great morning.
I'm currently driving like that.
Don't do that. It's not safe. Put it across your chest.
So for any cops, what kind of car do you have?
My own body. Like, seriously, leave me alone.
No.
It's like crazy.
We need as many listeners as we can get.
Lindsay, how many cups of coffee so far this morning, Lindsay?
Like 1 million.
Yeah, you can't tell at all. But hey, be safe out there. I hope you have a great morning.
Okay, you
take care. By the way, so Lindsay gets the bingo. Thing. Did you learn anything? Not a thing. Now, you're an adult. Your level of needing to be included has probably gone down a little bit because you got your own stuff going on. But I thought this was a pretty interesting question. What is the adult equivalent to being picked last in gym class? You guys are going to play kickball or volleyball, and you're the last person picked. It's just a degrading human thing. What's the adult equivalent for you?
So either being left off a text chain because you were like
they
an
start
afterthought,
a new text chain.
Or if somebody invites a bunch of gals to go somewhere like a winery or whatever, and then you see the photos on Facebook, and then you're like, whoa. These are not true examples for me, but I'm just saying.
So it's a genuine FOMO situation.
It would be more puzzling, like, why? I feel like I'm part of this group too. Why wasn't I included?
So some of the most popular answers that are popping up, and tell me if this would make you feel horrible.
Okay.
Everyone at work goes out to lunch, but you don't get invited.
Yeah. So, okay. I have a cousin who is a teacher. She's a newer teacher. She's young. And all the vets, they go out to lunch, and they invited some of the newer girls too that are in their 20s, and they didn't invite her. And I felt really bad for her. And I'm like, listen, are you missing out?
Why do you think
they all came back laughing? It's like, and then you look over and
why do you think she got left out?
I don't know. She's a very kind person. I don't know what she's like at work.
She a knock?
Is she a knock?
She's a knock.
I don't know.
They were all having teacher lunch wines, and they were afraid that she was going to knock them out.
Maybe.
People talk about plans of a party in front of you, but you have obviously not been invited yet.
That's really rude. And some people don't have that ability to read the room.
My daughter's a junior in college, and she says there are specific girls that she hangs with that do this all the time.
Really?
Where they're like, we're gonna
nice.
go to see Morgan Wallen. Oh. And then they don't invite anyone else.
Really?
It's just a couple of them.
That's not nice.
How about this one? Friends wanting a group photo together, and they ask you to take the picture.
Oh, no. Yes, that's a perfect example.
That's the adult equivalent to being left out of gym class. But the number one answer is getting invited out with your friends to be the designated driver.
Yeah.
Is that
come out and have fun with us to a certain point, and then we need you.
What is the adult equivalent to being picked last in gym class? Hey, good morning. How are you?
Hey, it's good.
You got one you want to add to the list?
Sorry?
What can we do for you today? Let's start the conversation.
What you calling for?
I had a couple questions for you guys.
Oh, sure. Knock it out. We're always open to questions.
Do you guys remember this little kid about 2 years ago who would call early in the morning? His name was Tanner.
Yes.
I do remember Tanner.
That's me.
Oh, hey, Tanner. Glad to hear you made it.
Your voice changed.
What's the other question then, Tanner?
Request a song.
No, we need the other question first. You had a couple of questions. Go ahead.
He said, "Can I request a song?"
Oh no, that was the only question.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you want to request a song then, Tanner?
Can I request "Pretty Slowly" by a person? I forget name.
Tanner, I think this is why we quit taking your calls 2 years ago, is because you never could complete a thought.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, darn.
I'm kidding. You know what? I'll look up all sorts of songs from people, and then we'll play it.
"Pretty Slowly" by Benson Boone.
Okay, we got that.
Good one.
I know what you're talking about. So why did you quit calling us 2 years ago?
Because I stopped waking up super early because my mom didn't work at the middle school anymore. So
why are you calling us super early today?
Because I'm waiting for the bus and I'm bored. So
Oh, good. I'm glad we could be your last resort, Tanner. It's always good to hear from you again after a 2-year absence.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you in 2028.
Yeah. Have a good morning.
Okay. Bye.
Tanner, bus is coming.
Thanks.
Go get it. Have a great day. Bye.
Coming up next, here's what's next with Kat and JJ.
Do you ever have those teachers that had to bring their kids in early and the kids were like always look so tired and like pale?
Here was the problem. I always got to be best friends with those kids because they were the ones that our detention, the guy that ran detention had kids our age. And they'd always have to go in with them because they lived in the country. And so they would always be sitting there helping them get ready for the day and stuff like that. And those were the kids I'd be able to talk to in detention because I was the one that was there every day. And I got to know their kids really, really well. So that was just kind of a thing. So what is the equivalent of getting picked last in gym class as an adult? Is it not having a kid call your radio show for 2 years and then really just kind of hammer on you for it? Is that the equivalent? That's the adult DJ equivalent of that.
I think the photo one really bugged me. If someone were to say, let's take a group photo. Hey, can you take this the long way?
This happened to me at Christmas. We were at that the big event, and it was like a rock and roll Christmas.
Yeah.
And we were pre-partying a little bit. There's like 50 of us, and we're pre-partying, and I'm just kind of sitting there hanging back, right? It was kind of, the problem is it was on a Friday night, and so I was up early, like 3 a.m. on Friday to do the show, and so it gets to that point, I hadn't had a chance to take a nap or anything like that, and all of a sudden it gets to that point, and like everybody's going to break for Christmas week that week and everything, and they're all buzzing, and they're cool, and I'm just kind of hanging back, and that happened to me, and they're like, group photo, go real quick before the concert starts. JJ, will you take this? And I was like,
ouch.
Dang, they clearly don't want to be seen with me.
Can you help me out with OPP? Can you help me out with OPP? Can you help me out with OPP? Everybody!
Other people's problems. That's what OPP is all about. You got an issue, throw it on the radio. People are pretty good at giving some advice around here. Alexis, we saw your text, so you want to tell everybody, like what you saw and kind of what the dilemma is here?
Yeah, so basically my friend's younger brother has a lot of lung issues, okay? And ever since he's been a kid, he's always had lung issues. He had 3 surgeries. But this is the thing: I was downtown. Just at bars, and I see him at a local bar, and he's smoking outside.
Oh man! And, did he see you?
No,
Okay.
and I didn't approach him because I was like, it's not for me to say, but this is the thing. I want to actually contact his family and say, hey, he's smoking, but I don't know if it's for me to get involved. It's just, I'm kind of concerned because I know he's had 3 surgeries for his lungs already.
Yeah.
So it's like, should I just warn the family, hey, this is what's happening because it has to deal with his health?
I mean, you're a family friend. You know what they've gone through. I would mention it, to be honest with you.
I'm usually a watch your bobber kind of guy, but this is for his own well-being. You know what I mean? Listen, if it were me, for what it's worth, I would talk to him. I wouldn't tell the family. He seems old enough to smoke. He should be old enough to understand logic. And eventually, right, it's got to be
logic and addiction do not go together.
Yeah.
So I think it might be bigger than him, to be honest.
Yeah, because I thought about it. If I was his mother, I would want to know, you know?
Yeah, and I think if this is, and I'm going to put you on hold to kind of hear what everybody else thinks, but I think that if this is somebody else, if this is a family friend and they see my 17-year-old who clearly has lung issues, smoking, I would prefer that they go to him first, but I would probably want to know about it so I could do the right thing as a parent too. Huge day Tuesday. The secret sound is still alive, so we'll get you $1,000 at 7:20, at 8:20. we got a chance for you to win Papa Roche tickets for the show at the XL Energy Center this weekend. And at about 8:05, your shot at $50,000. It could be a big life-changing kind of day, Tuesday in the Playhouse during the live show. Right now, let's finish up the podcast.
Down with OPP. Can you help me? Down with OPP. Can you help me? Down with OPP. Can you help me? Down with OPP. Everybody.
And this was kind of interesting. Just talked to a woman named Alexis a couple of minutes ago. This is the dilemma.
My friend's younger brother has a lot of lung issues, okay? And ever since he's been a kid, he's always had lung issues. He had 3 surgeries. But this is the thing. I was downtown just at bars, and I see him at a local bar, and he's smoking outside.
Okay, so you know that his family's gone through hell making sure that he's, safe from anything with his lungs, 3 surgeries, stuff like that. I would feel like I would have a responsibility to that family.
You'd call the mom or dad?
I'd tell my friend, the sister, and then she can take it from there.
Got it.
Alexis saw this downtown. What should we do?
Amy, what would you do here if you saw this?
I would go to the parents, I think.
Yeah.
Going to the kid that's smoking, he's just going to get irate because he's probably smoking. You know, could be because he's addicted, could be because he's doing it just to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I recently quit smoking, and it's hard. It sucks. And
how long were you a smoker for?
Let's see, 32 years.
Holy Hannah.
Yeah, that's a long addiction, and it's not easy to kick. So
how'd you quit? What means did you use?
What was that?
Well, how'd you quit?
Cold turkey.
Really? Just one day you quit? You just stopped smoking?
Yep. I had. Thank you. I had did the whole January 1st was going to be my quit day, and I ran out of cigarettes December 27th, and I said, well, why get a pack of cigarettes when I'm just going to quit anyway? And I said, this is it. I'm done.
Wow, most people would say I have a certain amount of days to get in, maybe a couple
smoke them
more
while
packs.
You got them.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Right.
I want to know, the amount of money that you've saved. Did you treat yourself to anything? Like if I can get to 1 year, then okay. What'd you do?
And it hasn't been, it's only been since this last December, but I needed surgery, which is the reason why I had to quit smoking.
There you go.
And I lost my mom to lung cancer also.
A lot of reasons to stop,
I definitely feel better, and and it's hard. It's hard when, especially somebody who has gone through something like that and has lung issues and surgery, and then the family is like, well, what the hell? Why? Why are you doing this to yourself? When it comes to addiction, it's different.
So, but circling back on this, you would for sure reach out to this kid's parents and be like, hey, you need to know about this before it's too late.
The sister or the parents, I would, because they have a right to know, and he's going to be upset regardless.
All right, good looking out. Hey, I really appreciate your thoughts on this. Congrats, by the way. I hope you feel great.
I do. Thank you. And I'm getting married next month.
Oh, hey, well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, bye, Amy. Have a great morning. I knew I could throw a curveball there. Hi, Barb. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Do you rat this kid out, or you mind your own business?
I'm kind of in the same boat as the other lady was. I would tell the parents, but I would also take a picture of the child, because the child would probably go to his parents, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. She's probably lying.
That's the ultimate rat move, is to take a picture of him while he's burning one outside the bar,
That is. But you need some receipts these days. That's true. Somebody's backed into a corner, and they're not going to be able to do something that they like to do, but even though it's bad for them, they'll lie. So
And see, the problem with me is I have stage 2 COPD, and I never smoked a cigarette in my life.
You're around it a lot, huh?
My late husband smoked, so I got COPD from secondhand smoke.
Oh, I think we've talked to you about this before, and that made me upset. For
Well,
you.
I get it. I mean, you're struggling and you have health concerns now because of it. So nip it in the bud. And if somebody's mad about it, well, then that's fine. They could be mad for a little while, but they'll live a better life. Is that your angle?
Yep, because, you don't know how long you're going to live, whether you die of a heart attack or if you get in a car accident or whatever. You only have one life.
Yep.
And you might as well live it to the best of your ability, because if you don't, you're not going to be happy anywhere.
Yeah. What about killer bees? You concerned about that at all?
Really?
I am. Listen, I'm worried. I'm worried about everything.
No.
Killer bees? Come on now.
Chipmunks, too.
Oh, my God.
Barb,
my friend's afraid of squirrels.
Oh,
I'm afraid of the dark.
All right. I am afraid this conversation is going to go longer than it is.
Have a great
Please
morning.
hang up.
You're
All right.
the best. Take care.
All right.
Have a good day. When did you have to call in the pros? So my wife and I bought this new property last May and moved in and had a big 40 by 40 pole shed. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to use this for so much storage. Like, you get to a certain point in your life and all you want is more storage and all you want is more storage. And I'm like, oh, this is great. And she goes, well, I think we should turn it into living space. Like, we'll put some couches out there and a TV, and the batting cage can go out there, and we'll move our gym out there.
It turned out pretty fantastic.
It did. So. But to launch this thing, I was like, no problem. I'll get all the insulation. I'll get all the sheetrock. I'll get all the paint. I can do all this. I'll do all the wiring, everything, right? And that quickly spun out of control. Like, I had ordered, we were getting lumber dropped off, sheetrock dropped off, all the stuff. And I'm like, I am beyond it would have taken me years to finish this project. So we had to call in the pros, found a couple of people who knew a couple of people, got it all done, turned out great. Really, really happy with the progress. But it made me start thinking about what else in your life have you thought you could kind of do, and then you had to call in a pro to finish. You don't even try these things, do you?
We don't even know. If we have a project, we completely just start Googling outsourcing. It's something that, but I was surprised, Derek, he went into the garage. Our snowblower wasn't working. He YouTubed it. He ran to the hardware store and fixed it.
There it is.
I said, see, you are capable of doing this. It's the, do I want to? Could I spend my time doing other things and employ somebody to do that? So we just ordered Liam's basketball hoop from Walmart.com. And then you can, through Angie's List, hire somebody to put it together a day after it arrives for an extra $100.
He's not even going to put the screw. There's like 4 bolts.
For this basketball hoop? No, absolutely not. And then you have to make sure that the springs are on tight enough so they can.
Is this a self-standing one?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're not putting it in the ground?
No.
Got it.
But still, he's like, listen, I'd rather have somebody come do it and then less time for me to do that. And then we'll be out there playing pig instead of hearing all these terrible swear words. So
our first house that we bought, I completed the basement myself. I did all the wiring, but then I did have my daughter was going to school with a kid who was finishing up his apprenticeship to be an electrician.
Yeah.
I had him check all the stuff. And he's like, all right, this is good. It's not going to burn down. But I did everything myself. So I got this feeling that I can do anything, right? Like, I'm a man's man. And eventually you just go, I want it done right. It's worth a couple extra bucks. So that's our question this morning is, what happened where you had to call in the pros? Now, this could be home improvement. This could be anything. And Steve, when I saw your text, I kind of giggled. Tell everybody what you had to call the pros in for.
Oh, man, guys, this is embarrassing. I tried to give myself a haircut at home.
Yeah.
And it was so bad. It was so bad that I had to call in a barber to my house.
Do you live that far away that you didn't want to make the trip? Or have you cut your hair before?
Matter. It was just how bad the haircut was.
You couldn't put a hat on or anything. You couldn't just make your way into town.
No, I couldn't put a hat on. I couldn't be seen.
And what kind of barber just up and makes house calls? I guess I've heard of hairstylists that might come to your home.
Maybe one that gets paid enough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good question. Did you have to pay him on the house call?
Oh, I had to throw in a couple extra bucks, but I'd say it was worth it. I mean, this was, this is bad.
He was able to fix it up enough that you could go back out in public?
I was able to leave the house again. Yeah, that was the goal.
Okay, we've got a leader in the clubhouse. He had to call in the pros with a barber. How about you?
So on Saturday, after Liam had basketball training, he was texted by a friend like, hey, let's go fishing. Can your mom pick us up and drop us off at the lake? And I said, sure. So I did that. And then Derek and I had a chance to do some stuff around the house. And then we finished Reacher. And then they called because it was kind of chilly. And they said, can you come and get us? And they came home, ate some dinner. And then they said, because there's like a body of water near where we live, but the backside of people's homes, back up to it.
Sure.
And so there's no like public access to this water. And they just wanted to work on their casting. So I said, why don't you go and see if you can stand in someone's backyard? Who cares? There's really not much, of a threat of you doing that.
People get territorial on this stuff.
They
though.
do. Because they knocked on 5 out of 6 houses and all of them said, and I don't know how they phrased it, like, can we fish in your backyard? But there's really no fish in this body of water. It's like, I don't know how to describe it, but they were like, no. And then they got to their last house and the guy's like, sure, good luck. And they said, we just want to practice. And then I see later on that evening, or when I woke up in the morning, a post on our development Facebook page, which you don't ever want to see, where it says, some kids were going door to door. My heart stopped. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to talk about my kid and his friend. And then they said, we're ding dong ditching. And I scrolled down and there were photos from the Ring doorbell. And I'm like, kids can't get away with anything these days. I go and look now, it was taken down. So I wonder if that person that had posted, you shouldn't post pictures of people's kids. You know what I mean? Like, unless they're doing property damage, I don't mind the ding dong ditch. It was a classic back in my day. But the lighting of, a flaming bag of poop, yes.
So
frowned upon.
You're in the final moments of Reacher. Ding dong, nobody's there. Ding
it didn't happen at my house.
There. I know, but would you get annoyed by that? Would you post that?
No, I wouldn't post that. Derek would probably do something funny like chase them, and scare them a little bit. But I just think, and they probably were approached through Facebook Messenger, like, you need to take my kid's photo.
Well,
down.
So that's a good question. Is that's your property? They came onto your property. They have you have all the right to videotape what's going on your property.
I know, but I told Liam, I said, see, some people in the neighborhood can't take a joke. So if you are,
I agree. The ding dong ditch, not that big of a deal, but you're right. If they're trampling your shrubs or something like that, or scary. So I think a lot of people get wigged out by the dog, though. You know what I mean? Like our dog, if our doorbell goes,
someone did mention that below the post. They're like, oh, that's why the dogs were barking. So listen, if you have a baby that's trying to sleep and the dogs are going crazy, I get that would be annoying, but I don't know if I would go as far as to post the photo. It just wouldn't be. But you know how, like, in the state, when spring comes, you start to see your neighbors. Like, you don't see them for months at a time. And then they start coming out. And these 3 little girls that live next door knocked on our door. They said, are your kids home? And I said, I only have 1 kid. And they said, oh, I said, he's out and about. And then they asked if they could play in our driveway. I said, sure, go ahead. And so they were doing their little scooters in our driveway. And then they knock maybe 10 minutes later, and Derek answered, and they said, your house is really boring. What else can we do? Derek goes, I'm sorry.
And these are just neighborhood kids?
Yeah, these are just 3 little girls under 6. And they were just like, your house is really boring. I mean, it was a nice, it was a nice Sunday.
He got mad about that, though, didn't he?
He did. He was like kind of offended. I said, they're just rolling around on the driveway. What are you going to do? But either way, the posting of other people's kids on a Facebook page, I guarantee that's why it was taken down. Somebody got a Facebook tongue lashing and they were like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have gone that far. But
or it was their kids getting exposed and they didn't want that bad pub.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They were just like, don't do that. But how would you react to a ding dong ditch?
I would put it out there.
You would put
I think I would
no,
put
you wouldn't.
I think I would put the video out there. I'd be like, heads up, these kids are scaring your dog. Or the heads up, these kids are ditching.
Wow.
Listen.
Grouch.
Think about how, like, okay, so for us, like my son had to get a new phone, right? And we had to sign for it.
Yeah.
So like for 3 days, we're on heavy alert that anybody that rings the doorbell, somebody has to go there and sign for it, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say you're in the shower and you hear that, oh my God, I got to get out of here. I got to run down there. And then there's nobody there. Like, I would put that video out there.
Oh my God. You are grumpy.